Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Damon. This is my very first video on this channel. I'm very excited to be sharing it with you guys. I just bought this 2020 Dodge Challenger Scatpack Widebody in F8 green with about 24,000 miles on it when I bought it. It's got a 6-speed, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I've been wanting this spec for a very long time, so I feel very happy to be a part of the group. You know, if you're looking at this video, obviously you're interested in these types of cars, so I'm excited to be able to share my experiences so far with it and how excited I am. So a little background about the channel and what I'm going to be focusing on is going to be obviously going over my car, my experiences with it so far. Also, I just joined a kind of car group. It's called Golden State Mopars on Facebook. So if you're in California, like the Bay Area or Central Valley, go ahead and check them out because they're doing like car meets and stuff. And so what I will do, if you're not in the area as well, or if you are, but you can't make it to stuff, I'll try to record it and talk to some of the people, see their cars and stuff. And I think that would be really fun. So far I've had this thing for about 2 weeks. I definitely have loved cars. I've loved these since they came out. I did have a BMW E93 M3, which was a lot of fun. It's the closest thing I could compare as far as my experiences with cars I've had to this. It was about 400 horsepower rear-wheel drive, DCT. So this car, though, in comparison, is very different. So some of the things that I love about this is, first off, the 6-speed, right? A lot of people don't know how to drive one or just don't want to, and I understand that 100% now that I've owned one. I learned on a 6-speed, but I never owned one, and now that I've owned one, there's some challenges. You know, stop-go traffic absolutely sucks, especially in a car like this. It doesn't want to go slow, so that's something you'll realize. Like maybe in a stick shift that has a little bit less power, you will be able to survive a little bit easier. But with this car, it like I said, it just doesn't want to go slow, so you'll be on the clutch a lot, and it just kind of gets a little bit frustrating, I guess. So something that I've noticed as well is it doesn't get very good gas mileage, right? So it depends on how you're driving, of course. So when I'm on the freeway and I'm in 6th gear and I'm just driving normal, going the speed limit, all that stuff, I get about 20 miles to the gallon. So that's the best I can possibly get in this thing. And around town, it's probably like 12, you know, depending on how I drive. But for the most part, it's like 12 to 15 miles to the gallon. So that's something to keep in mind. Not so much like I'm saying it like you care, as far as, you know, if you're buying, you always hear it, if you're buying this car, of course, you're not worried about gas mileage. So who cares, right? It does concern people that are worried about how much money are they spending on this car, how much is it going to cost me per month. So that's something you have to factor in. For me personally, I don't drive a ton, but I do drive every day. So I'm going to fill up this tank once a week, right? Once a week minimum. It costs me $100 in premium in California to fill up my tank. That's $400 a month on top of my car payment, which is about $800 or so. Then you also have insurance. So it depends on your driving record, your age, your state. There's obviously a lot of factors when it comes to car insurance, so I can't really give you an accurate number for yourself. But what you can always do is you can call insurance companies and get a quote for a car and kind of get an idea before you actually jump in and commit to it. So for me, it's like $200 to $300 a month. So altogether, it's like $1,500 a month for this car, which is, you know, you have to make sure you're in the right financial situation to be able to afford it. Is it worth it? Those are decisions you're gonna have to make on your own. Also, before I forget, how much did I actually pay for the car? That's probably something you're gonna be wondering, with my payments being what they are, and why are my payments what they are. So the sticker price was $44 and some change, I believe. And when I bought it, I actually had trade-in value, but after all that was said and done, I actually did get a warranty on it, so that'll vary whether or not you get a warranty on it. I think it was very low 50s out the door, So we'll just say right at 50,000. I think it was 50 and some change, right? So 50 and some change out the door with the warranty plus taxes and fees. And I did a 72 month. I extended out as far as I can to get my payments down as low as possible, so I can save up money and just pay it off in chunks rather than feeling stretched at any point. So that's just my mentality with that. What was my APR right now? Buying a car is probably not a super smart decision, but I decided to anyway because I got a really good deal on it for what this is. So my APR with a 760 credit score is 8.9%, and that's through a bank. So I'm gonna refinance. I already got pre-approved for a 6.9%. So in between 7 and 9% with a 760 credit score, which is terrible, right? My before I went to Korea, so this is 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I bought a car. It was 2.9%, and that's really what it should be. If you have a really good credit score, really good credit history, you should not be paying that much in APR. But because of the way the economy is right now, that is something you're going to have to expect if you're looking to buy a car in this this time frame. One thing to keep in mind as well is that you can refinance. So once interest rates lower a little bit, if you can afford paying that extra money, a little bit of extra money right now, you can refinance and get it lowered down the road. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. So another thing that I really love about this car is the attention it gets. It gets positive attention, right? So when you're at a gas station, you're going to fill up, or anytime you're outside your car, somebody will catch you off guard and they'll be like, man, I love that color, or I love your car, you know. And it's those little things that it makes you happy with just being in this place, right? So you know, everybody's so caught up in the day-to-day, and when somebody gives you a compliment on a car that you really appreciate and you like, it kind of puts faith back in humanity, we'll say. So, and you can start conversations with new people that are car people, and it creates those connections and relationships with people that you know you never would have talked to if you're driving a Toyota. You know, maybe actually Toyotas, there's a big kind of crew with Toyotas, but nonetheless, it's a cool car. People are going to tell you, and it makes you feel good. So that's pretty cool. Not really why you buy one, you know, you're buying it for yourself, but it's kind of cool to get appreciated by other people for sure. How does it drive, right? It drives really well, especially for being so heavy. Like I said, I had a BMW. It drove pretty well, handled pretty well, but I think that this actually does even better. It's got huge tires on it, stock, great suspension, great brakes. The brakes are amazing. Braking's huge, right? So to have good brakes, especially in such a heavy car, is so important. And with this car, I feel like the power to stopping ratio to the handling ratio, it all just flows so well. So, you know, you're getting into an almost 500 horsepower car, especially with a stick. You're kind of like, oh, I don't know, this can be potentially scary, right? Not really with this car. You know there's power there, and you respect the power, but you're not gonna kill yourself in it. Of course, you still have to drive responsibly and all that stuff, but when you do decide to have some fun with it or take it out to the track, it's gonna do exactly what you want it to. So amazing experiences as far as that goes. I haven't bought tires for this car, so that's something to keep in mind too. If you're like, man, I want to get one of these things and just roast the tires off, it's like, well, make sure you just have money for it, you know. Me personally, I can't afford that. So that's not going to be on my to-do list, at least not for a long time. So yeah, overall driving experience has been very comfortable. And that's another thing, is like the seats are comfortable. I've gone on one long road trip. It was 6 hours one way, 6 hours back, right? So that's 12 hours I spent in the car, not back to back, but I pretty much sat for 6 hours going all the way to where I was going, and it was extremely comfortable. I didn't feel like I needed to pull over at any point, and it did just fine. So I was super happy with it, and I definitely am looking forward to taking it on more trips in the future, as long as I have money for gas. So now I'm going to clip to a video of basically just kind of me driving around so you can kind of get a point of view of what it looks like driving around in it. I'm sure you guys have seen videos about people driving these cars and stuff, but it never hurts to see another one, so I'm going to clip to that. Enjoy. So I got this car about a couple weeks ago. Never owned a stick shift before, so it's definitely been a learning process for me, but I feel like I've definitely improved on my kind of slow speed driving. I'd say that's the most difficult when you're driving a stick shift and you haven't driven one in a long time, is getting used to driving slow, especially in, like I said, a 500 horsepower car. It's definitely not easy to go slow when you've never driven one. So yeah, everything else is pretty smooth though. When you want to get on it, you can definitely get on it. So if you're going on and trying to merge into traffic or something, you have power to be able to downshift and go ahead and get in front of a car that's, you know, going a little bit too slow, whatever your situation may be. And it sounds amazing too. You know, the BMW I had a V8 and it sounded great, and that was something I've kind of missed throughout the years of not having a V8 car. You know, I went to a hybrid car after the BMW, and I always missed that V8 sound. So that's something that's super great about having this, is that you don't really need music. You know, I do listen to music occasionally, like when I'm on the freeway and I'm not really rolling through gears or nothing. But around the town, this thing just sounds so good, and you don't even have to get on it. You know, of course, when you do, it still sounds great. But man, this thing is this is right where it's at as far as kind of the sweet spot. And as far as power goes, a lot of people are going to be wondering, you know, man, should I buy a Scat Pack? It's just going to make you want a Hellcat. And for me, so far, I am super content with just driving this. You know, I don't need 700 horsepower. If I was in a different financial situation, maybe I would go for it. But you do some research, and they say that this is actually the more track-focused car. Because you got to think about it, like, if you have a Hellcat that has 700 horsepower, it's going to have more weight on the front end, right? You got that big old supercharger on the front, and how much of that power is really usable when you're going into turns and on a track, you know, or on a curvy road, you know, whatever the case may be. You unless you're going in a straight line, you're not going to be able to use that power efficiently. So when it comes down to it, the Scat Pack being just a little bit lighter and having quite a bit of power still, especially in the low end, it's gonna probably be a little bit quicker in certain situations. So me personally, this has plenty of power. I don't need to be going 180 miles an hour down the freeway as fast as I possibly can. Maybe it might have been cooler when I was a little bit younger, but for me, I just kind of like cruising now. So it really just checks all the boxes for me. So I'm gonna kind of get on it just a little bit, nothing crazy. It's definitely fun rolling through those gears. And you'll see as you drive around a little bit, one of these, that, you know, it's an old car, right? This Challenger, the body style has been out for a long time. I think they did the refresh in like 2015. everybody's around for a little bit, but you still gotta turn your head when you see one, and I think that's pretty cool to roll up to a red light and have somebody be like, man, your car's freaking sweet. What kind of car is that? And you just make people's days without even really trying. So I think that's really just a good feeling. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. I'm gonna be driving up to my house here in just a minute, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and please stay posted. I will be posting quite often, so just keep that in mind.